about a month ago, I was in the gym the same gym. The only time I leave my house is when I go to this gym, right? So I'm in that gym outside in like the social area. And I've got two guys next to me that have recognized me from my videos. We're talking about random stuff and the conversation goes to fucking. Like we start talking about girls. I see one of the guys, there's a white guy and a brown guy. I see the brown guy start looking a bit weird when we talk about this context of like, oh, fucking and, you know, talking about girls, whatever. He looks a bit weird and I get a bit uncomfortable because I'm like, oh, he's kind of judging you a little bit. And so I think, okay, well, I shouldn't really speak about this topic then. But I think, you know what, this became the most enjoyable part of the conversation. I'm like, fuck it, you know what? This is the thing I want to speak about. So I start speaking about it. You know, I'm just making some jokes here and there about girls, whatever. The other guy starts laughing to the jokes that I'm making. He's bouncing back and forth. He's speaking about the same things that I'm speaking. He shares things. He's asking for a bit of advice. He tells me the things he does with girls, the dates he goes on, whatever. Me and him start bonding like fucking crazy. We've got like a similar sense of humor. We're talking about the thing that we want to talk about. It's hype. We're laughing loads. Before I even realize it, I look around, the brown guy's just disappeared. He's just kind of like went somewhere. I lost someone, I didn't even know him by the way, but like I lost someone who I wasn't compatible with. But someone who I was compatible with, I got to the next level from stranger to like friend because I just had the bravery, the courage to speak about the thing that I just felt like speaking about that was enjoyable for me. So this is the key that I want you to take for this lesson. What to talk about when you're with people. So many young guys, they overthink this so often. They don't know what to talk about. They run out of things to say. And to that, I'm like, okay, your mindset's completely wrong. I'm not going to tell you what things to say in a conversation. Like, oh yeah, like ask them questions or whatever. I'm going to give you the big philosophy, the big mindset. And it's going to be so simple, you're going to be thinking that you're like a retard for not knowing this. What should you talk about in a conversation with people? What you want to talk about. It's that simple. Literally, just talk about stuff that you find interesting. Be in the kind of conversation that is enjoyable for you, the topic, the vibe. That's it. Online and in books, there's so much advice which is so forced of like, oh, take an interest in them and talk, you know, try and think about things that they're interested in and whatever. And it's okay. It's like level 1 advice. But level 10 advice is talk about shit that you're interested in and passionate about, that you find super interesting, funny, whatever. Because if you do that, you know what's interesting? You will naturally polarize the people that you're speaking to. And the people who aren't interested in the thing that you're interested in will get bored from the conversation and leave, which was the case in the story, and that's a good thing. And the people who are interested in the thing that you're talking about will like you more and they'll engage with you. Just see how it's like an instant kind of action that you can take that will instantly polarize people to see if you're compatible with them. If you talk about the thing that is interesting for you, either the other person will find it interesting or not. And by their judgment of you and the thing you're talking about, you'll literally just find out if you're compatible with them, right? You need a pair of balls for this, because when you don't have balls, which by the way, you probably don't right now, when you don't have balls, you're in this scarcity, insecurity kind of mindset. You're scared of losing this potential friend or this girl. So you try your best to try and speak in their interest and think about the things that they find interesting. The problem with that is it puts you in this kind of insecure, low-level pedestal, you know, like you put them on the pedestal because you're trying to like direct the conversation to them all the time. And naturally that just makes you kind of unattractive, right? Because you're not talking about the thing you're interested in. You're trying really hard to get this person to like you, which people can sense, by the way. People can sense that and it's not attractive. So you do that because you're kind of desperate, right? Imagine there's a girl who's into you and you really want her in your life. You'll start to like realign your conversation, your mannerisms to her because you want her in your life. But for any guy who's been dating a lot will tell you what would happen if you start changing yourself for her, if you pick up her mannerisms, if you let her lead the conversation. She's going to get turned off by you. You're putting her on the pedestal. You're making the conversation in a weird way, even though you've tried to make it interesting for her. You've made it kind of boring for her because you've let her run all over you. Just see how the normal advice is actually kind of shitty. Like, I learned this. I've read the books, like, How to Win Friends and Influence People and stuff. I read those books and all the advice online. And I've realized, like, that advice is for, like, complete little retards who are just trying to, like, start speaking to other human beings. But if you're already, a bit of a social guy, you know how to speak to another human being. You don't need to be told, like, take an interest in the other person. You don't need to be told that. You need to be told, have a pair of balls, understand what you actually like to talk about, and talk about it. Have the balls to think that when you talk about the things that you talk about, some people might not like it. Like, think about that concept, right? When you talk about the things that you actually want to talk about, some people won't like it, some people will. You need to have the courage to be disliked by the people who aren't even compatible with you in the first place. You need to have the balls to stop trying to connect with everyone possible. You should try and speak to the highest number of people possible, but you should try and connect with only the people who are actually compatible with you. This takes balls because it's like the courage to be disliked, because if you talk about the things you're actually interested in, if you talk about your values, if you talk about the things, like, for example, let's say you want to start talking about, like, sort of the red pill kind of dating, fucking, whatever. If you're scared of talking about that, it shows that this other person has got kind of power over you. If you've got the courage to be disliked, basically, if you've got a pair of balls, nuts, and you just fucking talk about the things that you're interested in, your values, naturally, it will just polarize people in the way that it's supposed to. Do you see how if you don't do this because you're scared of how this other person might respond, you're scared of losing the attention of this girl or this guy right now, in the end, you'll have a worse life overall? Because even if, let's say that you attract a girl or you've attracted a guy to be friends with you, but you've had this kind of inauthentic conversation where you've just been kind of listening to them and, you're kind of silently judging them, thinking that they're retards and simpletons, but you're just trying to be friends with them. What have you gained? You've become friends with a fucking retard. Right? Do you see how, like, you've got to have the courage to be disliked? You've got to just polarize people. You've got to polarize in this way that, look, you just talk about what you're interested in. You talk about what's actually funny for you. You navigate the conversation where you want it to go, where you want it to go, not for this other person, but for you selfishly. And I know that seems crazy advice. It's completely the opposite of what everyone else would tell you to do. But I'm telling you, I've tested every kind of conversational manner, and I'm telling you this is the best one, because then people see the real you. And you very quickly will see if someone is compatible with the real you or not. And if they're not compatible with you, then who gives a fuck? What have you lost, really? Just see how what I'm trying to do is stop you from being like the insecure, small dick kind of version of you, where when there's a girl who's speaking to you for the first time in a while, you'll do anything it takes to keep her in your life, even if you're going to have like an inauthentic conversation with her. But if you do that, you haven't gained anything, because you don't even like this bitch anyway. Stop placing people on a pedestal thinking like, oh, well, I've got to speak in a way that they like me, because you don't have to do that. So this is exactly how I speak to people. This is like what I speak about. I speak about whatever is on my mind. Whatever's on my mind. Like, for example, if I just got an injury, I'll hug a girl that I recognize and I'll tell her, oh, I just injured my knee again. I'll speak about the thing that I'm interested in. I will literally, if something's on my mind like business, I'll speak about it. If a girl looks pretty, I'll tell her, because it was on my mind. It's the conversation I want to get to. If I'm with the boys and I want to speak about fucking girls, then I'll speak about fucking girls, and I won't like try and dampen it down if there's a new guy next to us thinking like, oh, well, he might not like the conversation. He can get fucked. I'm going to speak about the shit that I want to speak about. Now, here's the tip. Here's the big tip to make this interesting for the other person. I want you to direct your conversation selfishly on whatever you're interested in. But then here's the big tip. Relate it to them and ask them a question. So imagine the topic is whatever we want. We just got an injury in the gym, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about our injury. We go up to someone and be like, oh man, like, how are you? Oh bro, I just injured my knee. We talk about it. Yeah, I was on squats, yeah, I just fucked up or something. And then we just relate it to them. Have you ever had that? And they're like, oh no, but one time I was doing deadlifts and I hurt my back. And you're like, oh man, injuries suck. Yeah, I'm probably just going to rest off, whatever. If you relate it to them, instantly they're 10 times more involved. This way, you get to speak about the topic that you care about right now, right in this instant. For example, like, every 2 minutes, the topic that you want to talk about changes in your mind. One block of 2 minute time, it's dating. Then the next time your brain is thinking about mental health, and the next time your brain's thinking about business, whatever. It changes quite rapidly. This way, you get to focus and stay on the thing that you want to talk about, the topic you want to talk about. Like, you want to talk about girls right now. But what you do is you ask the person you're speaking to a question at the end of most sentences so that way they're more involved. You don't just talk about yourself, you make it interesting for them. So let's say I'm in the mood to talk about girls, right? Like I just got a text from a girl, it's kind of weird. I'll say to my friend, oh, I just got a text from this girl, it's kind of weird. But then I'll relate it to them and I'll be like, oh yeah, I saw you talking to that girl yesterday. What happened? Have you smashed her before? Do you see how we talk about the thing that I'm interested in, but now I've related it to the other person so that they're engaged with the conversation as well. Or for example, I get a text from the girl, I'm mentioning it to my friend. Oh yeah, she just texted me. That's weird, isn't it? You ever had a girl text you something like that? Do you see how we're talking about what I want to talk about, but now the other person feels completely involved? You see how this is like, because I've done a lot of like social skills training. This is the meta, the specific like unpatched tactic. Talk selfishly about the topic that is in your mind, but then relate it to the other person. Let's do another example. Let's say in your mind is your diet. You're wondering if you should bulk or cut in the gym, right? Bulking means get bigger, but then you get a bit fatter. Cutting means you get leaner, but then you get a bit smaller. Should you bulk or should you cut? It's in your mind. You're journaling about it. You're thinking, okay, should you bulk or should I cut? Whatever. Then your friend comes up and you say, oh, yes, bro. You speak a little bit. How are you? Whatever. And then you say, oh, I'm wondering if I should bulk or cut. What do you think? Suddenly your friend is 10 times involved in the conversation looking at you and he's like, you could probably go, I'd say bulk. And then you say, okay, sweet. Yeah, I'm thinking that as well. Are you bulking or cutting? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm like cutting right now, summer. And you say like, oh yeah, it's summertime. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, your abs are looking lean. I want that as well. Do you want to see my dream physique? I saw someone, I took a screenshot of it from someone on Instagram, look, and he's like, oh shit, yeah, I get that. And it's like, what's your dream physique? Like whatever. Do you see how you're speaking about the topic that you wanted to speak about, that you are genuinely here, interested in, present in, but you've related it to them? This is how you have a conversation that can last for hours and hours and hours. You'll step away thinking, holy shit, that was a good conversation. And you know what's really nice? The other person will step away thinking, holy shit, that was a great conversation. This is the meta. So when you're speaking to a girl or a new guy, just have the honor, the integrity of knowing what you want to speak about. Then speak about it. Talk about it, whatever's on your mind. And then just ask them a question, ask them for some advice, ask them if they've been through that, ask them about their input, relate it to them. Oh, you've had that before, haven't you? Have you ever had that before? What do you think? You relate it to them, and I'm telling you, both people are happy, and you actually get a conversation which was genuinely enjoyable for you. At the start of this module, I told you about that story where I had those two guys, and I started speaking about fucking. Imagine if I didn't speak about that. Imagine if I thought to myself, oh no, like how to win friends and influence people. I should just talk about, something they're interested in. And, oh, hey, I start trying to relate it to them and put them on a pedestal. And I try really hard. Like you start trying so hard that you just give people like the ick a little bit. And I start like, bro, me and that guy who he's become a good friend of mine. I speak to him every single day now. Me and him wouldn't have connected as much if I was actually trying to follow all the principles that you've seen online. Therefore, like complete retards, right? You're past that point now. You're at the point now, I know for a fact you're at the point where you get like, you're not like social Chad right now, but you're not a complete retard either. You don't need to be told, like, talk to human beings and take an interest in what they say. You don't need to be told that. You now, the next step of your development is you honoring and having the authenticity to know what you actually want to talk about. Stop just trying to change yourself like a chameleon based on who you're speaking to. Talk about what you're interested in. And sometimes, by the way, you'll talk about what you're interested in and you'll have nothing to relate it to the other person. They can't add to it. They don't understand it. And when that happens, I basically get up and leave the conversation because I just think this person's like a retard, right? This happens like a lot of the times. I'll be speaking to someone, I'll be like, there's no way they can relate to me. Then I'm like, yeah, they're just like a little Jessica, little retard. They're not, or Jessica, Jeffrey, they're not going to understand what I'm even talking about. So why do I even want to be in a conversation with them? They've got nothing in common. They're not successful. They're not ambitious. Yeah, fine. Like imagine if I want to talk about like my injury from the gym and they don't go to the gym and they don't exercise at all. It's like, then it hits me and I'm like, yeah, why the fuck are you speaking to this guy in the first place, right? So then you just leave those conversations because you're not authentically compatible with each other.